So today I'd like to take a moment to show you something and turn it into a teaching moment. For those of you who are just getting into removable prosthetics, or maybe even those who have been in removable prosthetics and had a different way of doing things, I thought today I would show you the way I do a certain procedure that comes into the lab, not real routinely, but at least once or twice a month. And that is old dentures that come in with beat to hell, okay, for lack of a better way to put it. Really over the useful age of the denture and well past it, basically. And patients are very resistant to buy a new denture, to invest in a new treatment, a new denture treatment, because they've become so accustomed and so resistant to removable prosthetic treatment that they become almost impossible for clinicians to work with. And so the clinicians, of course, like every human being, try to take the path of least resistance once they've hit a certain wall. And that is, what do we do with a denture that comes in and basically is past its useful life, but the patient wants you to fix it and reline it and wants to use it. And this case here came in, and I'll show you, there'll be some pictures I'll show you here as I'm talking. You may recall this case came in, it had a bunch of it was just filthy, it's horribly broken down, there's fractures in the area here, in the flange, and all the way back through. On the other side, not nearly as bad, but the teeth were set up probably against half a dentition at some point. And so it doesn't look all that groovy either. Probably the only redeeming factor of this case is that these teeth are all porcelain teeth. That makes it extremely easy to work around because as I'm removing acrylic later, I will show you that I don't have to worry about hitting the teeth. So anyways, these are all acrylic, or I should say these are all porcelain teeth. And in this case, the patient doesn't want a new denture. So I have to offer something which I call a rebase. Some people call it a jump. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to maintain the position of the teeth as they are. We're going to recontour the flange, and then we're going to process the case brand new with the exception of the teeth, and we'll maintain the teeth in their position. And I'll show you how to make something that looks really horrible look really actually new and refreshed, and at the same time this will give the patient what they want, which is they don't want to lose any of the tooth positions they're accustomed to, but at the same time we can refreshen it and re-strengthen the base for some more service time. I don't make any recommendations or I don't make any warranties on how much time we can offer as far as a warranty goes. But I'm happy to do these types of services with the understanding that I don't have anything other than a reline impression. I don't know what's opposing it, and without things in opposition and mounted, very difficult for me as a business to warranty anything that I do as far as what I would call this would be a repair, although it's a rehabbing, but it's still a repair of an existing denture. So with that said, there'll be I'll be doing some things here. The first thing I did was I took a Robinson brush, a stiff one, and because I could get in between the teeth, I removed all this old. What there was old repairs in here with self-curing resin over a period of time, and every time that they did that, they incorporated bacteria underneath each layer of repair. So literally, what you had was a darkening color that was around all the teeth because of the fact that there was bacteria trapped underneath each layer of repair. So of course, I disinfect the rascal best I can, carve on it, disinfect it some more once I expose the bacteria that's underlying, and continue to sterilize with a cold sterilization until I get the thing so that I don't get something from it. I'm glad we don't have smell-o-vision, because if you had smell-o-vision, you would understand how rank this really, the odor is of the bacteria involved. But with that being said, I've had to remove a bunch of the old nasty acrylic best I can. And now what I've got to do is I've got to recontour this, okay? And I have to recontour it in new acrylic. So I'm going to be doing a pack processing on this case. So the idea is that I can recontour in wax to make it look natural again. And then I can invest this case in polyvinyl siloxane putty. And then I can take this out of the mold once it's been invested, and I can remove everything and wash out all the wax that I'm going to add, and I'll have a new perfect mold with the teeth in the same position, which then I'll be able to pack and process. So I'm going to do that through these steps, and I'm going to show you how I accomplished this so that in the future, if you get one of these cases and you want to offer the doctor something, but the patient doesn't want a new denture because they don't want to lose the beauty of those old rank teeth, you can make a recommendation which might help you, might give you a better image in your dentist or in your clinical practitioner's mind about you and what you can offer them. Because, you know, it only takes one real good recommendation that's very successful, and you begin to build confidence in your abilities, where then when you make other recommendations, they're heeded much more because of the fact that you've already got a proven track record. However, be careful about what you recommend, because if you can't deliver on the promise, well, of course, then it works in reverse. So with that being said, we're going to start with this case, and I'll be continually coming back and showing you the different phases. So at this phase, they've sent me a reline impression inside of this after I had them clean out all the crap that was inside of it. You saw the picture. And then they took a fresh reline impression, which I poured up, and I've removed all the nasty I basically can. And now I'm going to re-wax this case, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like and explain anything I think is worth mentioning. Oh, one thing it is worth mentioning for you new entrants into the field, when you're doing this grinding and flicking and everything else, keep your mouth closed, because man, that stuff flies. It hits you in the mouth. It's nasty. So, you know, again, keep the mouth closed. I wear a mask, by the way. I should probably show you that. I'll show you that when I come back. It looks like this. It's one of these. I just wear this whenever there's anything that could be airborne. I don't want to get hit in the face or in the mouth or breathe any of this stuff that's been in somebody else's mouth, okay? Just common sense. And a good vacuum, of course, always. All right, I'll be back, and then we'll go further. Okay, thanks. Okay, so I've come back. I wanted to show you, when I last left you, basically all of the old rank acrylic was taken off that had repairs and everything, and then I took a stiff Robinson brush and took away around the gingiva, basically, so that I could wax up to the tooth and give it a nice contour again. One thing I did find out, and now I'll have to show you in this video or in this series of videos, one of the teeth was actually broken and replaced with a acrylic tooth. And when I hit it with the Robinson brush, it knocked a dimple in the facial of the tooth. And I'll have to repair that, and I will do that using some self-curing resin and some Optiglaze to bring the color, and I'll show you how that works. But what I wanted to point out was that you can see that I've added back all fresh wax, which will be eventually turned into acrylic, just like I would a setup with wax. What I didn't do is I didn't get overly dramatic. This patient was used to a certain contour that was in the denture prior, and although I'm probably a little bit more talented in making eminences and so forth based on tooth emergence, I didn't want to go too nuts, because a patient, again, is used to a certain contour. And so what I did is I basically just brought it up to a nice, natural, subtle contour, really nothing garish and nothing sticking out, but enough that it filled in any gaps and voids that might have been fractured and repaired in the flange over the duration of the service period. With that being said, now it's all been waxed and polished. There's no scratch lines in the wax. Everything's nice and smooth. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to invest this in my microwave flask. Yep, I'm going to make this out of microwave acrylic because I will basically have it done in a very short period of time, 48 minutes from the minute that it begins curing to the minute I break it out and finish it. It will be as strong, if not stronger, than the acrylic that I'm already using for longer periods of time, the Nature Acryl. I'm using Nature Acryl MC for this, but if I was going to make a new denture for this patient, I would probably go with the 9-hour cure, which is the way I like to do it. Because this is a repair, it's a jump, and I want to get it done, and the patient's waiting for it. It's easier for me to do the 48-minute cure. The other cool thing is, if you know anything about the microwave and you've listened to my videos, there's less residual monomer in microwave acrylic than there is in standard heat cure acrylic that's done with a hot water bath. And because of that reason, and because this denture wear is an old denture wear, I want to kind of keep the chance of any kind of monomer taste out of the patient's mouth and hopefully avoid any kind of reaction. You know, tissue acts funny when it's in contact with a new surface. This has been relined and this is an old denture. So I want to change as little as possible. But back to the waxing, contours are in. It's all been nice and smoothed out, looks great. And so the next step for me is going to be invest this in my microwave flask and invest the bottom half first, and then the top half I will encompass with some PVS putty and then pour a cap, and then I'll soften up, take it out. I'll come back and I'll show you where I'm at with this, but not too bad. It's going to look great. This case is going to look like a brand new case practically except for the teeth, and I'll see you in a bit. Thanks.